When I stepped into the living room, Mark was at my side. The man I had been secretly involved with for months. My chest tightened, heart hammering, as my husband, John, sat comfortably on the couch with his attention fixed on the television. His face brightened with a welcoming smile when he saw me, but the moment his gaze shifted to Mark, the warmth drained away. "John, we need to talk," I whispered, my voice shaking. He muted the TV, confusion etched into his expression as his brows knitted together. He turned fully toward me, waiting. My throat went dry, but I forced myself to speak, pointing faintly toward the man beside me. "This is Mark," I said slowly, each word feeling like lead. He wants us to share, and we can't refuse." The color left John's face. For a moment, he just stared at me, as though my words hadn't registered. Then, without speaking, he pushed himself up from the couch and strode out of the room. Seconds later, the sound of the toilet flushing echoed through the house, the absurdity of it cutting through the silence. Mark simply shrugged, calm as ever, as though nothing about this moment was unusual. I twisted my hands together nervously. The air thickened, the seconds dragging painfully long, every tick of the wall clock unbearable. My eyes darted to the hallway, dreading John's return. At last his footsteps drew near. When he reappeared, his face was unreadable. Dangling from his fingers was a small metal keychain, gleaming as it swung. My stomach clenched. "What's that, John?" I asked softly, my voice fragile. He lifted it higher, his eyes locking onto mine. "This," he said with chilling calm, "is the key to a new beginning." The words hung in the air like a storm cloud. Mark shifted uneasily, sensing the gravity of the moment. John's voice remained steady, though the fury beneath it trembled at the edges. "You brought another man into our home, into our marriage," he said coldly, every syllable sharp. "And you expect me to just accept it?" I swallowed hard, panic clawing at my chest. "John, He silenced me with a swift gesture. "You made your choice. Now deal with the consequences." Without giving me a chance to answer, he disappeared again. When he returned, a small wooden box rested in his hands. The box where we once kept our wedding rings. He opened it slowly, revealing nothing inside. "I flushed them," he said plainly, though pain edged every word. "We won't be needing them anymore." Shock paralyzed me. Mark shifted beside me, his usual composure cracking. John set the empty box on the coffee table with deliberate care, then sank back onto the couch. His posture was relaxed, but his eyes burned with a restrained intensity one had never witnessed before. The room was suffocatingly quiet, just the hum of the refrigerator and the ticking clock filling the silence. I finally found the courage to whisper, "John, why are you doing this?" "Why?" he echoed, his voice steady yet heavy with anguish. "Because you destroyed everything. You thought you could bring another man into our marriage and nothing would change." Tears blurred my vision. "I love you, John," I choked. "But I love Mark too. I thought maybe we could make this work." His head shook slowly, disbelief etched in every line of his face. "You thought wrong. You can't have both. The moment you brought him here, you made your decision." Mark stepped forward cautiously, his voice calm but uncertain. "Maybe we can talk this through. There has to be a way." But John's jaw tightened, his eyes unyielding. "There's only one way," he said, his voice like steel. "Both of you leave." His words landed like a death knell. My chest tightened with the weight of what I'd done. I glanced at Mark, silently begging him to fix this, but he faltered, his voice weak. "John, please, we care about you. We didn't mean." "Don't pretend this is about caring," John cut in icily. Silence swallowed us. Mark cleared his throat, then awkwardly excused himself, slipping toward the door. I stood frozen, watching him vanish, leaving me stranded in the ruins of my choices. "This is how it ends," John murmured finally, more to himself than me. "You chose. Now so have I." Hours crawled by in silence. I sat numbly on the couch, the empty ring box a cruel reminder of the life we had built and destroyed. John had locked himself in the bedroom. The slam of the door final and heavy. The house felt unbearable, weighed down by grief and betrayal. I whispered into the emptiness, "I never meant to hurt you." For a fleeting second, his expression softened when he returned, a trace of the man I once knew flickering through his eyes, but it vanished instantly. "But you did," he replied, his voice low and filled with sorrow. "You shattered everything." Instinctively, I reached for him, desperate to close the growing distance, but he stepped back. The rejection stung worse than words. The space between us had become unbridgeable. Mark shifted awkwardly in the background. "Maybe some time apart will help," he offered cautiously. John's expression hardened further. "Time won't undo this. Leave both of you. Now." The finality in his tone crushed me. Mark looked at me, searching for an answer, but I had none left to give. In silence, we gathered our things, each object a reminder of what was lost. The house mocked me with memories of laughter, warmth and love, all now ghosts. John watched us silently, his face carved with pain and resignation. When the door closed behind us, the sound rang out like a funeral bell. I turned once, catching a glimpse of him standing framed in the doorway, his figure steeped in dim light. His posture was rigid, his presence unmovable, his anger restrained but unshakable. That image burned itself into me. Though the confrontation was over, the consequences had only begun. Mark and I stayed together at first, more bound by circumstance than affection. But John's unnerving calm lingered in my thoughts. He hadn't screamed, hadn't begged, he had simply drawn a line. I knew him too well to think he was finished. Days blurred into each other, suffocating with guilt. Sleep eluded me. Food tasted like ash, and John's silence haunted me more than rage ever could. Mark tried to reassure me, urging me to move on, but his words couldn't quiet the storm inside me. Then one evening my phone buzzed. A message from John appeared. "Come home. We need to talk." My blood turned cold. Mark, reading over my shoulder, frowned. "You're not actually considering going back, are you? He's not going to forgive you." "I have to know what he wants," I whispered. "This could be a trap," Mark warned. But curiosity gnawed at me more than fear. The drive back was agony, each passing mile pulling me towards something irreversible. The house stood bathed in fading sunlight, deceptively warm against the dread curling in my stomach. Inside, John waited on the couch, a bottle of wine before him. His face was unreadable. "You came," he said calmly. I nodded, unable to speak. He gestured for me to sit. I obeyed, nerves prickling beneath my skin. He poured 2 glasses, sliding one toward me. I took it, wary. For long minutes, silence stretched, unbearable. Finally he spoke. "I've thought about what happened. About us." "John." He raised his hand gently. "Listen. I'm not here to argue. What's done is done. But we need to move forward." His composure unsettled me more than rage ever could. "I've decided," he continued, his voice steady. "I want a fresh start. But under one condition." My heart pounded. "Condition?" "You and Mark leave town tonight. Don't come back. If you do, I'll make sure this all becomes far worse for you." His ultimatum crushed me. "But what about us?" "There is no us," he said simply. "Not anymore." Tears spilled down my cheeks. "John, please." "It's too late," he cut in softly. "You chose. Now live with it." I nodded slowly, acceptance breaking me. "I'll go." "Goodbye," he whispered, his eyes never leaving mine. When I walked out of that house for the last time, the air outside felt colder, sharper. The sound of the closing door echoed inside me. In the car, every mile that pulled me away felt final. But John wasn't finished. Days later, the storm he had promised arrived. Divorce papers came swiftly, each page a blade. Worse, he demanded full custody of our children, using my affair as proof of my unfitness. In court, his team painted me in the harshest light, parading texts, photos, and witnesses until the judge declared full custody to Mr. Smith. The words shattered me. Outside the courtroom, John's voice was quiet, merciless. "I warned you. These are the consequences." Mark, crumbling under the weight of it all, eventually left me too. "I can't do this anymore," he confessed, walking away from the wreckage we'd created. Alone, I moved into a hollow apartment, stripped of love, dignity, and family. Friends drifted away. John thrived, building a new life for himself and the children. Smiling photos on social media mocking me with their stability. In the silence of my empty space, regret consumed me. I stared at walls that felt like a prison, haunted by laughter, warmth, and a love I had taken for granted. John's calm, ruthless resolve had left me with nothing but shadows of the past. Every choice I had made carved this fate. Now I was left with the crushing weight of betrayal, mine, and the realization that some mistakes are beyond repair. And I would carry that weight forever. Would you like me to keep this in purely narrative form, or would you like some dialogue formatting, with quotation marks and clearer speaker separation, to make it read more like a novel?